All right, check this out. We are on location. We're gonna be doing a demo of this dining room and how I light it. But here's something new. All right, so I had been running with the Olympus EM1 Mark II, and I've been lately figuring out a whole bunch of cool stuff, okay? So for one, we can use the Godox V1 right on top of the camera as a flash trigger combo, which is cool. I have a few other tutorials on that. But instead of using the Olympus EM1 Mark II, because I just did a demo on that and using the app to control the camera so you can see what you're doing after you take a flash pop and review it, there was a few things I didn't like about that. Number one is you lose the live view on the camera as soon as you connect to the app, which I don't like. And I also lost focus peaking, which I don't like because I run with manual focus. I like to leave my camera on manual focus. Just lock your focus in, make sure everything's in focus. That way, every single shot is gonna be in focus. If you rely on autofocus, especially you full frame camera shooters, you don't know if you mess up where your focal point is. For example, if you focus too close to the camera or too far away, then things near the camera aren't gonna be in focus and vice versa. So that's why I really encourage you to run manual focus, use focus peaking. The cameras now have amazing focus peaking, but that was the issue that I had with the Olympus EM1 Mark II, was that I didn't have focus peaking and I didn't have my vertical and horizontal lines. But look at this, I'm on the GH5 Mark II, which, by the way, this isn't a review on this camera, but this camera is phenomenal as far as stabilization. So if you are a run and gun video filmmaker, and if you're gonna get into doing real estate videos, man, I highly recommend checking out, watching other reviews on this camera. The stabilization is phenomenal. I have other videos on that where I demo the stabilization on this camera, so go check that out. But look, we have live view on the camera. We have our horizontals, our leveling for the vertical and horizontal lines. We have focus peaking, and we still have focus peaking on the app. Now, another cool thing about this app that Panasonic made as compared to the Olympus is this app is a lot faster. It's a lot more responsive. You can take your shots, you can review them quicker. There's not that 3, 4, 5 second lag in between viewing your photos and going back to live view. The functionality is still all there. You have control of your white balance, your ISO, your shutter speed, your f-stop, all that stuff. So really sweet. So I'm gonna demo this for you real quick, and then we're gonna get into the editing room, and I'm gonna show you how simple it is to blend this. So here it is, a typical dining room situation where we are gonna run with the flash on top of the camera, using this Godox V1 also as our trigger so we can control our 8200 that I'm gonna use to run around and do my other flash pops with. So let's do this. I got my shutter speed dialed down to, looks like 1 second. And if you can see on the camera, we are overexposing by 1 1/3 stops. And again, watch your histogram if you have one, but I'm just watching my meter, which shows me that I'm over by +1 1/3, which is fine. Let's take our shot. And I'm gonna show you, see if you can see this. Look at how fast. So it's gonna say this every time on this app for some reason. The function is not available during the still picture recording. Just hit OK and then hit that picture view again. It'll bring it right up. Not sure what the deal is with that. But here's another nice thing. Look at how fast that uploaded. And we can zoom in, checking to make sure we are locked in focus. I like the way that's evenly lit. And notice I'm going with lights off. That way I don't have to worry about other I'm not shooting multiple different white balances. The camera can be left in auto white balance. And if there is any minor color cast, we can easily fix it in post, and I'll show you how. So now we got to do is just go back to our live view. And again, see, we still have live view on the camera. We still have our focus peaking. Even on the app, it shows focus peaking, which is really sweet. So let's dial this down. We got to hit the shutter speed, and we're just going to take our finger and slide this. Now there is a slight delay with the app on this, so go slow when you're doing this, making your corrections. So, and I got my zebras. It's even coming through on the app, which I love. Let's bring that down. We're still at 1/10 of a second here, so I think the sync shutter speed on this camera is 1/60th or 200th. I'm not sure. But we'll bring it down. We got plenty of flash power. Let's bring it down so we can see those window views really nice. I'm going to turn my 80 or my Godox V1 trigger on. Now M is stands for main when you get this set up. So we're gonna run 1/8 power through the V1, and with the 8200, let's see, we're gonna be on channel or group A. All right, so we are gonna be on group A for the 8200. Now here's one issue if you're gonna be running with the V1 using it as a trigger, is that if you try to adjust your flash power from the 8200, let's say you need 1/32 power, we're gonna take our flash pop. It is instantly gonna go back to whatever you have it set on the V1. So it didn't take it at 1/32, it took the flash power at 1/4. So what you need to do, here's a workaround. You can set group A as a different flash setting, B is a different one, and C. So if we look, let me go down to group B, and all you have to do is hit these buttons below the B if you want to change group B. So let's dial that. We'll make that flash power 1/2 power. And then we can go to C and just make that full power, in case you need full power. So if you're away from your camera, that way you don't have to touch the camera. Say we take a flash shot where it's a 1/2 power, we want to go to 1/4, but we're halfway across the room. All we got to do is hit group until we get group A, and now we're at 1/4 power. So that's what we're going to do for this demo. We're going to leave the V1 at 1/8 power. We're going to take our cell phone, and now we can see that we're in the frame. We're going to do our left and right composite like we normally do. Take our flash shot. I'm going to show you how simple it is to review this and how much faster it is than that Olympus app. That looks good. We could probably go brighter on the V1, but for this demo, we're just going to leave it. I know that'll be good enough. And we'll take another flash pop over on this side. And we'll review that. And again, you can double tap to zoom in, making sure you're in focus. But there you go. All right, let's take these images into Lightroom. I'm going to show you how simple it is to blend a composite like this. All right, so here we are in Lightroom, bringing those 3 images back in. Remember, we have the ambient layer that we shot, and then our 2 flash composites right and left. So first thing we want to do is do our initial bump. I like to correct for in-camera distortion, get my verticals squared away, maybe adjust the exposure. White balance I don't touch unless it's obvious that unless it's way off. I usually will take my little picker tool and use that, but 9 times out of 10, the in-camera white balance works pretty good as long as you don't have a lot of color cast going on like tungsten lighting. So maybe we could drop those highlights a little bit. And let's move on. I'm going to copy these settings to try to be consistent. Remember, this was our right composite. And again, remember we could have maybe bumped the flash or the flash power of that V1 on camera a little bit higher. And again, this was in my house, so don't worry about these. I would have definitely moved these if this was a real, listing shoot. I just wanted to do this as a demo. So again, let's copy these settings. Super easy to do. And let's paste them into this image. All right. All we got to do now is just hold down Command and click on these 3 images. Right click, edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. All right, so once you have your layers loaded into Photoshop, remember that ambient layer is going to be on top, and then we have our left and right composites underneath. Leave the ambient layer off and come down to your first flash composite shot and just do a layer mask, and then Command I to invert it. Really fast way to blend these together, like I've shown in other tutorials, is using your gradient tool, making sure that you are beyond the farthest flash hotspot on the ceiling. Click and drag over somewhere on the other side. Now again, we have a lot of shadows due to that ceiling fan, but that's okay. That's why we're going to use the ambient layer as the ceiling, as you can see here. Let's do that. Now we can turn the ambient layer back on, do a complete layer mask, Command I to invert, take our brush tool, and start painting in that ambient light. Now, if you notice, my flow is at 6%. I like that 5-6% is a really good flow to have, because that allows you to just gradually brush back in that ambient light. Because if you have it too high, then you're going to put too much ambient in. And again, a lot of times you don't want to do that. And we want to make sure we eliminate all shadows that are not supposed to be there. Paint back in just gradually, subtly bring back in that ambient light. On the walls, there's some natural shadows over here. And of course, like I said, I would have moved these bags. But I just wanted to get this video out to you guys. So, and this is my own personal house. This isn't a paid gig or anything. So, all right, let's do this. Actually, you know what? Let's just, for the sake of it, I know a lot of tutorials say to put it in luminosity mode. And it just depends. For me, I'm not a big fan of luminosity mode anymore unless it works right out of the gate, and it doesn't in this situation. So I'm going to show you another trick. Right-click, flatten image, and now we can duplicate this layer by doing Command-J. Let's come up here to Filter and do a average blur. So go to Blur and then go Average. And then we're going to come down here and do a Curves Adjustment layer. Now, we're going to use the middle eyedropper, because if you hover over it, it's going to say Sample in Image to set gray point. That's what we want to do. We want to get middle gray. So we're just going to click anywhere in the image, and it's going to give you middle gray. Now, if you look here on the curve, it lifted the blues and dropped the reds. 9 times out of 10, that's what it's going to do. So let's see if it fixed our color cast issues, and we toggle that curves layer on and off, and it did. It got rid of that orangish, well, it was a red hue, and then it brought in more of the blues. A lot of times it'll do it too much, or it doesn't need to be involved in the entire image, and so it looks like it's pushed it too much. So we just take the opacity, 75, 50%, somewhere like that, and you toggle this on and off, and it still takes away a lot of that yellow oranges on the ceiling. So that's where I like to leave it. Right click, flatten image, hit OK, because we do not need that other layer that we duplicated. Command S to save it, and right back into Lightroom. Okay, and I'm just going to do my interior final bump, and again, these are presets that you can create yourself. It's super easy, just by hitting the plus sign right here, create preset, label it something, whatever you're going to remember it with, and then it's going to leave it right over here. So, thanks for watching. Make sure you watch this video if you want to see a full on-site, a real job shadow, the full job shadow and edit right here. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.